Hello and welcome back to Foos Entertainment for my review of Halloween 6. The Curse of Michael Myers is entitled in the producer's cut of the movie, or if you want to go on the theatrical cut of the film's title, Halloween, the Curse of Michael Myers. Marketing style, it says called Halloween, the Curse of Michael Myers. Now, both cuts are in this. Very good artwork on this, I might add. Both cuts are actually in the movie, so you have the ability to choose between the producer's cut and theatrical cut, which I would call the studio cut, because that's technically what it is. This is my favorite Halloween movie. This is actually my number one favorite one, and I know that's making everybody like, well. That's because, like I said in the Halloween 5 review, I understand these movies. I understand what they're actually about. I paid attention to every single aspect of the movie series itself, from the very first film all the way up to this film, and the films that came after it. And that's why I have really no problem with Halloween, the Curse of Michael Myers. I thought that this really should have been the last movie in the series. Well, let's just talk about what I like about the movie, and let's talk about differences real quick between the versions. I know I've seen the theatrical cut enough times I didn't have to watch that. I just watched the producer's cut, which I always preferred over the studio theatrical cut. The difference between the two is, and it's a lot like Jason Goes to Hell, the film Friday, in a small way. Jason Goes to Hell, a film Friday, the theatrical cut, has not much in terms of gore compared to the unrated director's cut. Well, when it comes down to the Halloween, the Curse of Michael Myers, the theatrical cut, studio cut, was made specifically with additional scenes to add in some over-the-top gore effects and over-the-top graphic violence. And it also got rid of a lot of the mythology climax conclusion that kind of grafted the Halloween mythology of what's been driving Michael's rage from the very first movie that we see slightly in the first film, and then again in the second movie, and then we see it front and center in the fourth and fifth films, and now it's really it's explained in the sixth film. A lot of that was cut out to like a shortened, highlighted version of itself rather than the full Monty, which really is a lot better if you get the full Monty on it, because then you really truly understand the direction these films have been going, and it just makes more sense. It's just a more satisfying film, the producer's cut, because of that. But it was created for the studio to have a gore fest, body count, so on and so on. Body count's still during the producer's cut, but the gore fest isn't. I would say that it would have been very hard for the producer's cut of Halloween to actually get the producer's cut of Halloween, the Curse of Michael Myers, get an R-rated rating because of the lack of gore. I may be wrong about that. It may have gotten an R rating anyways. But I just thought that story-wise, character-wise, explanation-wise, and so on, that the producer's cut was a much more crafted movie, and it really fit in a whole lot more with 4 and 5, which came before this film, and it really plays more out as a sequel to those two movies. It's part of like a trilogy within the middle of the franchise than the studio cut did. Well, let's go on to the premise of the movie. It takes place 6 years after the events of Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. We discovered that Michael Myers and Jamie Lloyd are not dead, and that mysterious unmasked individual in the 5th film, he was following Michael around and killed all the cops, when Michael was incarcerated, is actually the leader of a sort of pagan cult, or thorn god worshippers, whatever you want to call them. And they abducted Michael and Jamie, and they forced an incest pregnancy by actually having Michael Myers impregnate his niece, Jamie Lloyd. And as a adult about 20 years old, let's say 17 to 20 years of age, she gives birth to a little boy. And then, of course, the cult followers and members keep her from her baby, and one of them goes ahead and gets a guilty conscience and tries to help Jamie escape with her newborn child. They did pay homage to the fact that Michael Myers does have a telekinesis psychic link with Jamie. So he follows Jamie. Jamie does play a coup on him that works by hiding the baby at a train station, and then having Michael pursue her to a barn in which Michael proceeds to kill her. Now, in this version of the film, she doesn't get killed right there and then. She actually does survive her ordeal barely with Michael. Someone else kills her later in the movie. In this version. In the studio cut, Michael grinds her, and that's all they wrote for Jamie Lloyd. Another reason why this version is way different. Like I said, there's many differences. Meanwhile, she's trying to get help from going onto this controversial radio station before her supposed demise. And a grown-up Tommy Doyle, played by Paul Rudd from the Ant-Man movies and the Avengers films, as well as many comedies that you guys might know of, like Role Models and stuff like that. Very good actor. This is his first movie, I might add. He was introduced in this movie to the world. Which continues the tradition of these three franchises. Johnny Depp was introduced in Nightmare on Elm Street. Kevin Bacon was introduced in Friday the 13th, as well as Crispin Glover was introduced in the fourth Friday the 13th film. Well, Paul Rudd was introduced in Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. And I believe that Friday the 13th Part 4 was Corey Feldman's first movie, too. So a lot of celebrities actually came out of these franchises. It's kind of cool. He hears her on the radio, and a retired Dr. Loomis, played again and for the last time, tragically, for the last time, by Donald Pleasance, who actually died during the filming of this movie at the age of 75. And basically, they hear her on the radio. And then that, of course, begins our story in a lot of ways. Dr. Loomis goes back to Smith's Grove, and then he discovers that Jamie Lloyd's body was delivered to Hounsfield's Hospital in critical condition. So tries to help her. Runs into Tommy Doyle, who just a few minutes earlier discovered Jamie's baby stashed away in the women's bathroom at the train station, in which she, hid her newborn child. Runs into Dr. Loomis and tells him to meet up with him later to discuss how to stop Michael, because they both suspect that Michael's coming back. Tommy actually knows more about the Thorn mythology and suspects that it's the reason for Michael's madness, and has a way and a means to stop him, which plays really well towards the end of the producer's cut of the movie, not the theatrical studio cut, which is way different. Which is something I think that loses really a lot of the mythology of this movie. It's really got played a lot in the original cut of the film, which is the producer's cut. Tommy then talks to the Strodes which are our main characters, a mom and her troubled child, who, I might add, the cult is trying to prep to take Michael's place by haunting him in his dreams, sort of having some kind of psychological power over the poor kid and stuff like that. And his name's actually Danny. He's a little kid, probably about maybe 8 years old. And basically, Tommy tells them the story about the fact that they're living in the Myers house, and tells them what he thinks is driving Michael's madness, and what will probably happen next if it's not brought to a close, about the Thorn mythology and all that stuff. Tells them to stay in his house and not go back to the Myers house, which is the Strode house, of course. And basically, Danny gets psychologically driven to go to the house after the mom sees her brother and her brother's girlfriend being slashed by Michael in the Strode house. So she goes after her son, has a outing with Michael. Makes it back to Tommy's house across the street. Teams up with Tommy and Dr. Loomis just to find out who the masked figure really has been this entire time, the one that's been helping Michael, which is actually Dr. Loomis's colleague, Dr. Wynn. And Dr. Wynn actually is responsible for everything in every fucking movie. And this is where it gets really full circle. Michael originally was just a regular kid that was troubled. Was not a bad seed. What happened was Dr. Wynn, who was obsessed with the occult of the Thorn mythology, saw that Michael was somewhat chosen to carry the power of the Thorn mythology, which is like a pagan god of evil or some shit like that. And he made it possible for Michael to be possessed by this force, and this voice that told him to kill his family. And then everything starts to make a little more sense then, after hearing all about that. And then, of course, they have their fight with Wynn and his cult members and stuff like that at the Smith's Grove Sanitarium, which is where the climax of the movie is. And basically, Tommy traps Michael in a spell, sort of a pagan ritual spell, and it holds him in place. Dr. Wynn tries to free Michael from it. Michael, off-screen, incapacitates Dr. Wynn and puts his mask on him. And then, of course, Dr. Loomis goes back in, thinking it's all over, to find out Dr. Wynn, before he dies, passing on the gatekeeper guardian responsibility, and even gets a tattoo right here on Dr. Loomis's wrist of the thorn symbol. And that's where you hear him, screaming, which does not really explain why he's screaming within the studio cut of the film. And that's how it ends. Well, let's speed this up a little bit. We got like 2 minutes here, actually a minute and a half. We'll try to do the best we can on this. Picture quality wise, this looks like your typical 1990s movie, a lot like Wes Craven's Nightmare and Jason Goes to Hell. It has a very digital look, but it is really more driven towards warm and neutral color temperatures with very little cool temperatures in them. As for the audio, this is the very last movie to ever be recorded in ultra stereo surround in theaters. And the audio actually kind of sounds a lot like, I say, Friday the 13th Part 7, A New Blood. But there are points in the movie to where there's a lot of good surround effects, and there's some good direction in the film as well when it comes to effects. And that's pretty much all there is to say about Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. Do you like the movie? Do you not like the movie? Do you like this review? Do you not like this review? As always, subscribe, check back with me from time to time, and I will see you guys next time for my review of Halloween H2O. Until then.